Alright, so what we started out with was a rusted chrome bumper, and we hacked out all the rust holes, made metal patches, and all the places where there was a rubber strip that had studs in the background. We didn't want to use that, so all those holes had to be filled up. There was little dingers, and we straightened it, and the slot for the pump. You saw all those things all done. But then we had to try smoothing out all those imperfections after metal patches were welded in. We can see that there's still a situation where it's, I mean, you're going to notice it once there's paint on it. Right now, as you're sanding it, and even though the rest of it is all sanded with 80 grit on that chrome, you'd be sanding it, the Bondo will kind of, when it gets really thin, it'll slip out of the 80 grit scratches in the chrome. We're going to try a whole coat of primer with the build-up primer, and then I think it'll be, you can put Bondo over primer. And maybe, if it's close enough and this builds up good enough, we might even not have to do any more Bondo. We'll just use different layers of primer and then try to get it level. It doesn't have to be perfect. So, you know, as you got bright light coming down on it, you're going to see where all those holes are. But when it's flat black and you're driving at nighttime, you know how perfect you got to be. It's going to just be better than having a rust bucket. We're going to smooth everything out.
So here's the primer we're going to try. This is supposed to be a high build primer, but nowhere on the can does it say high build, nor does it talk about pot life. But it was just some cheap stuff off Amazon. We'll see how it does.
Maybe it's going to add more light.
There'll be another coat of filler on top of this. Just trying to get it somewhat straight.
Yeah, you can remember where all those rivet holes, you can kind of see this. There's a high spot there, but we're going to put another coat of thick primer on it, knock that down, and then do the black epoxy primer, and then that's good where it won't rust. Regular primer will let moisture suck in. The epoxy primer seals it up. And then move on to the roof line. The reason we're doing a roof line is somebody put in a sunroof. I don't know why anybody does that, because it's just a potential leak. And just like back in the day, you could get a convertible, which I never liked. They don't maintain the body lines. If you have a convertible that you got a regular hardtop you can put on besides that, let's just say, we'll pick a car, a 63 split window Corvette. They look cool. Then you get a 63 convertible, you don't even get to see that. You know, they don't have that split window in the back. So now you got this goofy top with these bows showing. It doesn't even maintain a cool line. There's people that love convertibles. I just never liked it. They make the vehicle weaker. And then the next was a Targa top where you could lift the center section off. They leaked. T-tops, they leaked. And it's just, they make the car weaker. That's all I can say. And leaks, you go through a car wash and water's coming in, you got towels. You know, it's really a joke. So we're going to get rid of that. It breaks up the lines of the roof. It doesn't look good. We're going to have to fill it. That's going to be tricky because you got to have a roof line that's going this way, going that way. You're welding it up. We're going to get distortion. It's going to be a job. After many hours of cutting, patching, grinding, welding, priming, repriming, sanding, priming. Now we're down to the point where we're just blocking it out, and then we're going to put the final black epoxy primer And that's what the whole rest of the car is gonna end up being, like Murder Nova. And the body work, we're doing it as good as we can, but it's never gonna turn out perfect. And when you do it in the flat black primer, you could always, you know, block it out even again and put more primer after that. But when it's flat, it doesn't reflect back in your eyes like gloss black. Gloss black is the hardest to paint because it's got to be a mirror or it's going to look like it's wavy if you don't have it all blocked out. So as you will see, mega pitting. This is all pitted metal. You can see where all the holes had to be filled up where that rubber strip was. We talked about how much that costs. It's not conducive to do that. You can see the brackets that hold it. I don't know if you can see those brackets that he made to, so it's infinitely adjustable and you get it looking just like stock. And it's all in that epoxy primer, so it shouldn't rust anymore. And that's as good as we can do. So it turned out pretty darn good. I thought it was going to be impossible to get this straight in between where all those holes were, and I wanted to fill it, you know, from that peak to that peak. He didn't want that look, but it turned out okay. More lines, gives a character.
So we started this bumper how long ago?
When you started working by me, I told you, you got to lighten up that car. We took the bumper apart. You had two bumpers, and we tried to make a mold, and we were going to try making a fiberglass one. Well, that didn't work out. So it has to be over 20 years ago that we started this, finally finished it.
I'd like to say I bought this bumper when I was 16, and this was the bumper on the car in the movie A Trip Up North. Brought back to life for more action.
So this is the bumper mounted. The filler panels are not in place right now. Those all have to be worked on. Just wanted to get this done, out of the way.
As we pull the fenders off and the nose off and dress them up, do the body work on them, and put them back on for the last time, we'll add the filler panels then, because it's going to be a lot easier to handle the parts without the filler panels in place.